Hey everyone, Christopher here, and welcome back to a very exciting episode of Fossil Forward Finds What Sold videos. This episode is for April 27th through May 3rd. Um, Good episode for you this week. The numbers are a little misleading. I did have one canceled sale, which happened to be a doozy. Before I get into that, so what I actually have is 38 sales. If you take out the doozy of a cancel, it's roughly $567 gross. So my number of sales is about average, or what I would consider average, but my gross number is certainly better than usual. Um, the culprit here is I used to play a djembe back in my high school days. I haven't played it in years, so I'm looking to offload it. I may just bring it to my local guitar center and take whatever they can get from me because it's becoming more of a more trouble than it's worth. But in any case, someone bought it, paid the $350 for it. Um, Apparently, did not read the local pickup only, which shouldn't surprise me. I can't even get people to read the very first word of a listing. But in any case, I messaged them to ask, all right, so you're local to me, right? And they're like, no, I live on the West Coast. Please tell me you don't ship, or please don't tell me you don't ship, or whatever. And I'm like, okay. So I had to cancel that. Um, like I said, I may offload this at my local guitar center and just take whatever cash they can give me. It's taking up space. And I tried it on Facebook Marketplace, and you get all the people who will, yeah, I'll pick it up. No, I won't pick it up. Or I want you to come all the way to me, and I will not try to meet you halfway or any sort of anything. So, um, yeah. But anyways, it's been a good sale week. Let me show you some of the highlights, and let's get into it. Alrighty, so we're going to jump in, starting a little basic to start with. Greeting cards. I've mentioned a number of times before that I do like picking up and listing greeting cards. I get them at estate sales because they're usually a toss in. At least in my experience, they haven't really increased the price because I had a bundle of unused greeting cards in there. Um, they do go eBay standard envelope. Just make sure you account for the size as well as the weight. This one was small enough to fit eBay envelope, standard envelope. It was more of a 2-ounce shipper, so I probably should have added an extra few cents to the listing. But in any case, this one was for grandparents. Came with the envelope. I always show the envelope in the first picture if I can. Um, yeah, easy peasy. Listed in November. No big deal there. This one, QSL card. Haven't showed you a QSL in a little bit. This one sold on offer, I think 15% off, so $11.04. I paid 27 cents for this card, listed in February of this year. I have multiple of this one. I tend to list a lot of the duplicate QSL cards individually just because the backing will have different check marks and little discolorations or whatever. But, can't complain for $11.04. This one's from Warwick, Rhode Island, and we got our nice little marine life here. All right, back to some pinups. So I sold 3 of these, different views, but same style, blank back, um, some sort of modern reprint or modern take on a vintage fashion, vintage pinup. Sold 3 of them to one buyer, $7.99 each. Bought these from Dave F. Brother on Whatnot. Listed them back in November, so can't complain there. Again, they don't come with ready-made titles, so put a description in as best you can. Try to get those keywords in there. In this case, pinup, blonde-haired, things like that. A little different. Uh, my aunt and my parents have been downsizing. My aunt is a huge Vera Bradley purse fan. Had some of the mugs though that she didn't need, so I got two of them, and I've sold one of them now for 19.99. Like with the figures and so forth, I do put up a video. It just is a good way to show off the scratches or any other, you know, details that you want them to see. So sold about a week. It didn't sell on auction, but as soon as I switched it to buy it now, it sold for the full price of 19.99. Back with the figures again. Another full price sale of 23.99. Still have a whole bunch of these lizards left, so hopefully they continue to move. But again, another video in there. Easy to list, easy to ship, no complaints. I listed this on April 23rd, so pretty quick turnaround. All right, these Big Eye. What is the? Sorry, had to pause there to take a look. This is not a Margaret Keane postcard, but Margaret Keane is the artist who sort of made the Big Eye girls a big thing, for a lack of better way of using my vast vocabulary. But in any case, I sold two of these to the same buyer, $15.99 each. I'm hoping they arrived all right. I had gotten a message from the buyer on Saturday that it was marked delivered, but hadn't arrived. As you're aware, hopefully, if you're an eBay standard envelope user, um, eBay standard envelope can only be scanned at major distribution centers, which means your local mail carrier, your local post office can't scan it. So what often happens is when the item reaches the last major distribution center, it'll get scanned in as delivered and then arrive a few days later. It's a little bit annoying. Does tend to come with these questions from buyers who are not familiar with it, but um, I'd say 8 out of 10 times the buyers are willing to wait a few days, and the item usually comes in. But in any case, I got these off of eBay. Someone was offering a lot deal. I think I paid I think it came out to like $1.27 per card. So selling two of them for $15.99 each. Can't complain there. Going to the same buyer. Yeah, gotta have a pog every week. This one sold also on offer for $15.99. This is officially my most expensive pog I have sold so far. Jurassic Park seems to be a good one, a good theme when looking at pogs. Obviously, the only reason why I have this up for sale is because I already have some in my own collection, and I actually have some additional ones for sale as well. But it goes eBay standard envelope. Listed this in November of last year, so pretty good there. So yeah, don't sleep on pogs. They're not gonna move quickly per se, but there are some good ones out there if you know what you're looking for. This one was fun. So I back in November I bought a new to me house, moved in, and so I've been slowly going through stuff that I had in storage, including my old sci-fi dinosaur collection, etc. And among them were a stack of trade cards. I think this came from my Fulbright fellowship days in Canada, Ottawa, Canada. But in any case, I had these series of trade cards that I didn't really feel like keeping myself. I kept the Jurassic Park one and maybe a Star Trek one. But in any case, listed them all individually. I couldn't find any other examples of these, so started most of them at $12.99 on auction. But within a few minutes of listing this, I had someone asking me if I would take offers on it. In my brain, I'm thinking, well, I'll take bids. It's on auction. But I got a few watchers, I think 4 watchers, and within the last few minutes, it went up for 5 bids for $44. And that person who asked me if I took offers came back and asked if I had a second one, which I didn't. So I know Scott Pilgrim it's a character that I've heard of. I know they made movies. I've never seen them, never read the comics or anything. But I will definitely be keeping an eye out for Scott Pilgrim items in the future, see if they do as well as this trade card did. And I forget where this one was going. I think it was staying East Coast United States, though. And then the last two items I'm going to show you, if you watched my Oneana Hall video, they'll be recognizable. So I went to Oneana, New York for a small postcard ephemera show. If you saw the video, I mentioned there was like 7 or 8 vendors, and I spent most of my time at the host vendors booth. But this was a private individual who, if I understand or if I remember correctly, she was basically just selling postcards she had inherited, or they were her sons or something of the sort. I've never had a vintage Halloween postcard before, so when I saw this one for $1, I said, sure, why not? It had quite a bit of condition issues, big crease there, corners are pretty well creased, but I figured why not for $1, I'll give it a try. And it sold on offer for $26.99. So can't complain about that. $1 into 26. I think I paid about $40 to $50 overall on the Oneana trip. I need to get better at keeping track of my cash deals. But in any case, I was very happy. I listed it on auction at first, and this was another one that sold within a day or two of it going as buy it now. And then the last one that I shall show you is another Oneana purchase. This one cost me 50 cents at that first booth. And this is a real photo postcard of Kilby Hall at Troy State Teachers College in Troy, Alabama. And this one went on 4 bids for $56.55, and I started this one at $20. So again, can't complain about that. So about average amount of sales again this week, or what's I'm hoping will be my average. We've been having a rough year so far, but I definitely had a number of items that went for more than usual, more than I was expecting, and then a few buyers who bought multiple items that also had a good price tag on them. So pretty good week. Hopefully this continues. Let me know what is your favorite item that I showed you this week, how your sales been, and yeah, I'll catch you on the next one.